What's going on, guys? Hope you guys are doing good. In this video we're going to be covering Canon picture styles. Now this is going to work for most Canon cameras that you can load picture profiles on. This is going to work for the Rebels, the 50D through the 80D or 90D, the SL2s, SL3s, the M50s, pretty much all Canon cameras that you have the ability to change the picture profiles. If you can load CineStyle on your camera, this is going to work. And this is something that you can do for free to really make your footage custom to you, and it's fun to do. So what you're going to do first is download the EOS utility for your camera. You'll find that on Canon's website, and then open up the EOS utility, and I'm going to take it slowly and we're going to build a picture profile in this video. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is open up the picture style editor for your camera on your computer. Then it's going to give you the drop images here, or you can go up to File, Open Image, and then you'll need a RAW file, not a JPEG. You're going to open that file into the picture style editor. You'll see that file right there. Now when I took this shot, I used auto white balance, and then I also used the standard picture profile. But for today, I'm going to show you how to set your white balance inside of the picture style editor and then change it to either you can use standard, portrait, landscape, fine detail. I'm using an 80D picture for this, neutral, or faithful. So the first thing that I'm going to do is go over here to Tools, and then I'm going to go to Preliminary Adjustment. So I'm going to say the white balance adjustment, then I'm going to say click white balance. I'm going to use the dropper right here, and I'm going to find something. There we go. I'm going to find something that is white in my image that I want to set my white balance off of. So I'm going to use my shirt right here. Even though it's not perfectly white, it's close enough. I think it's a neutral enough color. So you just seen a little bit of a color shift when I did that. So then I'm going to close that out. So our white balance is set now. Go back up to Tools, and then I'm going to go to Preferences, and I'm going to make sure this is on sRGB, and then right here sRGB2. They come default like that, but I just like to double check it when I'm doing this. And then also something that I forgot to mention, in the preliminary adjustment you can adjust your exposure. You can build this into the profile. I don't know when you would use that, but you can do it. I don't use it, but I wanted to mention that. Get back out of preliminary adjustment. This is where your tool palette comes in. What we're going to do, the first thing that we're going to do is pick the color profile that we're going to build off of. So we've got our white balance correct. Now we're going to pick our color profile. I'm going to go to neutral. Then I'm going to start with these settings right here. In video you don't have the fineness or the sharpness threshold, but you can still adjust that in here. I'm just going to leave them where they're at. But I'm using a neutral picture profile to build off of. That normally is not a very sharp image in the camera. So what I'm going to do is just go +2 on sharpness. I'm going to leave these two, the fineness and threshold there. The contrast I'm going to take down 2, and then the saturation take down 2. We're going to come back to that. And then right here, the color tone, if you go to the left, it makes your image more red. If you go to the right, it makes your image more yellow or greenish looking there. I like to go 1 to the yellow. I think Canon cameras pick up the red in my skin. I'm a pretty fair skinned dude. It picks up the red pretty bad. So I just go 1 over to the right. And then you have your tone curve right here. We're going to come back to the tone curve. I'm going to go over 1 page to the 6 color axis. This is going to be where you can adjust each individual color. You can adjust the hue, you can adjust the saturation, and you can adjust the luminance right down here in the bottom. I can't change the size of this window right here, or you'd be able to see down in the very bottom there's a little bit more, but for some reason on this computer it has a smaller screen. It won't allow me to change that. That's just a problem with the Canon software, and you really don't need it. But let's start with the red. I know from experience that I need to have less red, so I'm going to go -10. You want to make small adjustments. 10 to 15 is pretty much going to be as much as you want to go. So there's 10, and then I'm going to change the luminance to -5 on that. This is just going to be a profile for shooting video specific to me. You can build it based upon your skin tones or the atmosphere you're shooting in. It's a lot of fun to mess with. We're going to go over to yellow. I'm going to go -5 there, because again we've introduced a little bit more yellow into our color profile already. I'm just going to back it off. Then I'm going to go to green. Now if I go to the left, it's going to be getting more towards the aqua color. If I go to the right, it's going to be more towards the yellow. Now there's not much green in this image, but I just know that from experience. I'm going to go -5, a little bit towards the aqua, and then I'm going to go +5 on that, and then +5 on the luminance. So cayenne here, you can go to the right and get more of the teal color. You can go to the left and get more of the, and I'm talking about the hue right here, you can go left and get more blue. I like to go a little towards the teal, so I'm going to go to the right. I'm going to increase the saturation 5, and then the luminance 5. And then blue, again, left is purple, right is more blue. I'm going to go to the right and just increase the saturation and luminance 5 on these. I shoot mostly outdoors, and these colors look good, I think, in Canon cameras, so I like to bump them up a little bit. And then magenta, I pretty much just leave where it's at. Almost always. Then you can go to specific colors. We're going to come back to this after we go back and adjust our tone curve, but I don't really do too much with specific colors. What I do mess with is this graph right here. This curve right here is going to be your luminance for your colors, and I'll show you what I mean. So I'm going to go to right here, and I'm just going to increase that, and you'll see the whole image is getting brighter. Right there in the middle, so that whole image got darker. We're going to come back and play around with that. Okay, so the profile is looking kind of bland, which is what I want. I want to be able to have the Canon baked in colors, and then I also want to be able to go in and put like a teal and orange or some more contrast on it. But your sharpness adds contrast to your image, as well as the contrast. The sharpness is your micro contrast, and then your other contrast setting is the difference between the shadows and the highlights. I'm going to leave both of those there, and then go to color saturation. Now in the picture profile editor, it's going to look more saturated than it does in the camera. So I'm going to go to 0. I'm going to go right in the middle. I don't really want to do that much to this picture profile with colors. I want to just add stuff on top of it. I don't want to completely color grade every time I use this picture profile. Let's go down here to the tone curve. Now what I like to do is put a point there, and I'm just doing this by clicking on it, and a point there. So what I'm going to do right here is lower that a little bit. You'll see it in the midtones, it's getting a little bit darker. On the shadow side, I'm going to raise that just a little bit. You want to do little adjustments with this. This is 8-bit footage. You're not going to get a lot more dynamic range out of 8-bit footage. But you can see just from doing that, it made the image flatter. So that's kind of what I was after. I can introduce back in some sharpening and some contrast in my editor when I do that. Let's go back to specific colors, back to this graph. I'm just going to raise that up to about right there. It's clipping a little bit right back here, but overall it's looking pretty good. I may need to mess with that highlight just a little bit, lower that back down. And you can add a bunch of, like if I wanted to smooth this out, you can add a bunch of points in here, but I have found that it's best just to keep this tone curve simple. But that's pretty much it. And then if I have any colors specifically that I want to dial in, like right here it's looking yellow around my eyes, that's looking a little bit weird to me around my lips. Let's just see what standard would look like. So just a little more red in standard. So right here I'm going to go to specific colors, and I'll just show you how to dial that in. And you can undo specific color pretty easily too. But I'm just going to go to my lips right there, click on that, and it'll give you that specific color. I can decrease the saturation, increase, and it gives you a limit here too. So I can go -15, you see it turned me into an alien looking person, and then I can go all the way to 85 and it makes me look crazy there. But what I'm going to do is just go like -5 there. So that's a really flat image on my face, and then the yellow around my eyes, I'm going to click on that too. Now these two may overlap. Yeah, see they overlap right there. So this one that I just made, not really going to do that much. Let's try on this side. Yeah, those overlap too. Right about here. Yeah, unfortunately, those two are too close together for it to be able to do anything. Yeah, so pretty much every other color in this image here, it's a pretty flat image, is going to be interfering with that first adjustment that we did. But if you want to take that off, you can just unclick it, and then you can even delete it like that. So pretty easy. So I'm pretty much done with this. I think what I'm going to do is bump the contrast and then the sharpening up just a little bit more. Again, this is going to look a little bit darker and more saturated in the picture profile editor versus the camera. I'm not trying to make a log profile. I'm trying to make a profile that I can just add a teal and orange on top of. So once I'm done with editing the picture profile, but once I'm done editing that, you're going to go to save right there, and then you can just choose where you want it to go. It's going to go to my desktop there. I'm just going to name this, let's go neutral mod, like that. It's going to give you these choices between your files. I would go with PF3. That's going to work for most cameras. And then caption, this is going to be what your camera sees. So it's going to be what you see when you're changing the picture profile in your camera. We're going to do no copyright there, and then you can click this, and that's going to make it to where nobody can change this. I don't like to do that because most of the time when you're doing this, it's going to take you a few tries to get the picture profile the way you want it. So then I'm just going to save it, and I've got a crusty SL2 to put this profile on. You're going to go to photo mode, set it in manual, and then hook your camera up to your computer. So I just plug my camera in. You can see the EOS utility is starting there. If you're using an old Canon camera like a T3i, you're going to have to download the previous version. I actually just have two laptops. I have one with one version and then the other with the other version. I have two $60 laptops that both have the same program, but just different versions. But you're going to go to camera settings, register picture style. So right here I have another one that I made that's been the best one that I made. I'm going to leave that TS log. Then I have CineStyle, and then I have this neutral right here. So this is nothing special. So this is going to be where I put this profile that we just made. So that's the one that we just made right there, neutral mod. I hope I spelled neutral right. I always mess up and put the U where the E is supposed to go. It's too late now. Open, and now it's on my camera right there in the user defined spot 3. So now that I've got that on my camera, I can go to picture profiles there and go to 3, and that's the one that we just loaded up. It's that easy to make and load your own picture profile onto your camera. But I hope this video was interesting. I hope this video helps somebody out there who's shooting with an old Canon. Hope you guys are doing good. I'll see you later.